believe that we are going to have a very, very interesting conversation about starting with Juliana and Sara, preparing for the future. How can we take action in the present? Please, Juliana and Sara, 10 minutes for you. Enjoy. The floor is with you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Juliana. Sara is there with me. We are from FourC Bilingual Academy. FourC Bilingual Academy is an independent private institution that uses the Brazilian school calendar with a bilingual curriculum in English and in Portuguese. So the name of the school, FourC, represents our 4 pillars that we believe are essential for individuals capable of learning throughout their lives and actively participating with the skills of the 21st century. So individuals prepared to contribute and build solutions for the world. So the 4 C's in our school are citizenship, how to be a protagonist and see yourself as part of the solution; culture, recognize the value of your own culture and culture of others; collaboration, act with the vision that we do more and better together; and critical thinking, think in intricate ways to solve problems. And what's interesting is that this is nothing new with this awakening about artificial intelligence. We started our school in 2008 with an innovative and disruptive project, believing that the school needs to be a place to stimulate curiosity and the desire to learn and develop the tools that everyone needs to live in an ever-changing world. So preparing for tests, in our opinion, in our vision, could be part of the process, but it could not be the only goal of the school. So since the beginning, we wanted to disturb and awake possible practices that could break the limits of traditional learning environments and develop human beings who are actively engaged and can contribute to global change. And then, talking about us and all the positive results that we had from 15 years of experience in education motivated us to take on a new challenge, taking the learning proposal, models, and practice outside of the walls of FourC. Then FourC Learning was born from the need to share the knowledge acquired and practice that we were experienced over the years of FourC. So we want to share it with anyone, anywhere, at any time that we want. And being here is a great opportunity to share. We saw in our DNA a motivation to broaden horizons and share educational methods, knowledge. So it's good to be here with you to share. And I'd like to start talking about some projects that we have been doing, some experience that we have here. Interestingly, we have been dealing with artificial intelligence for a while in the world, with research, algorithms. What has been highlighted now, despite seeming like a loss of control, maybe the opposite. It's a possibility of interacting. The interaction empowers students and teachers to reach higher levels of thought. So one of the ways to do it is through interdisciplinary projects where the students choose a research topic that he likes to be able to delve deeper into. So when interacting with AI, for example, ChatGPT, they can develop better questions, discover sources, analyze possible hallucinations of artificial intelligence. So this relationship between thought and language being created, since it's when we are relating thought and language, it raises the level of thinking and the level of access the higher level of thinking faster. So with AI, we can access this higher thinking faster. Another point thinking about projects is that we can think about personalized teaching, considering that it's possible to delve deeper at different levels, at other times, and in various interactions. Adaptive learning and strategies come from quicker feedback with artificial intelligence for teachers and students. So talking about this kind of project is also a tool it's a tool. We have to think about the tool's powers in training teachers, because there's a shift of this role. So the teachers take a new role, giving up of being teacher-centered and coming to class with the prior knowledge, with all the prior knowledge. Now he can choose, we can choose for a student-centered curiosity, student-centered level of thinking and learning together. You see that it's a shift that focuses on being now content creators, discussion mediators, questioners, encouragers of learning, to create space, environment, strategy to promote curiosity and learning. So, Sara?
Thank you. So Julia and I have been together with this project for the last 15 years. Just to say that I'm the founder of the school, the entrepreneur behind the school, and came to this idea of needing to create a new school with a new way of thinking, based on my experience in business and in industry, where I could see that people weren't really getting the abilities and the thinking skills to collaborate and to be dynamic and to solve big problems. So one of the big things in FourC is to give real world problems to the students, also to work through their interest and their curiosity, so that they're lifelong learners. They need to know what their questions are. They need to know what they're interested in. And so for AI, that gives us, like Juliana said, it's a base to help them with their curiosity, just like encyclopedia used to be, and then the search engines, and now we have a possibility to explore faster. So as Juliana said, that puts the teacher in a different role. And for us, that's the big thing about AI with education, is what is the role that we want students to have in the classroom? How much is their thinking, their interest, their curiosity being stimulated? How is the teacher really provoking that? And how can AI help? So we brought a couple of examples. We also are a school that are very, we use a lot of arts. So we do a lot of our studies at Harvard for Project Zero. And we also study a lot at another school for language acquisition, Carla in Minnesota. So we have our sources of thinking, of pedagogy. One of the things is we use art for thinking, for observing, for understanding others, to really understand the world, to get a bigger view. So one of the things that our teacher is really fond of getting with the technology, which isn't normal, but she's been really working with this. So the first thing was to do a self-portrait. So usually self-portraits, we find kids really wanting to, not to do a self-portrait, and one of the things is, let's study art history, how self-portraits, let's look at what self-portraits show about people, about spaces, about time. Why is this done? And then she said, okay, now you're going to use the ChatGPT to describe, you're going to use AI, because she didn't use ChatGPT, she used to describe yourself to an artificial intelligence, to then this description of language is going to be what is going to show your creation. Your creation is going to be made. And then there was a huge discussion, thinking for the students, did I create? Did I make? Was this artificial intelligence do my self-portrait, or did I do a self-portrait? Is the language in the description, and what is the intelligence or the process that is being done by the computer? So from arts to self-portrait to self-knowledge to self-description to understanding what the computer can do for us and what's the human side and what is the technological side. So the students used, I think, OpenAI, I think maybe Juliana put it in the chat, a DALL-E 2 to do this description, and then to get the pictures of themselves. And they then could write and think about what did they describe about themselves that gave the impression that they would be this person that they came out with. So really a really interesting, rich discussion, what we call generative ideas that came about. So Juliana, can you put that in the chat for me? Thank you. So they gave lots of different options based on their writing and what the students, and one of the big things was, did I imagine who I was or did I create who I was? Is this self-portrait really who I am or not who I am? So lots of really interesting things. And this was with the younger group of students. And then with an older group of students, we had another option, which was to read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think some of you know the story, famous story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and also to think, who am I and who is my Dr. Jekyll? Who is my bad side, my good side, the side that I show, the side that I don't show? And they did a similar idea of to try to create who it is based on their character, who would be this opposite profile of themselves. What would be this other side of their personality? So after reading, they looked at the characters and reflected on their personal experiences and created a multimedia presentation based on the societal changes and them and what could happen. And then they used Leonardo. I think Juliana can put that in the chat as well, Leonardo AI, where they from this description of who these characters are, talking with ChatGPT about this personality, they created their Dr. Hyde, that then they gave to the Leonardo to also create this image of themselves. So then they had not only their self-portrait was a younger group. This group is now 10th graders. For those of you around the world, 10th graders are 15, 16 years old, which we all know 15, 16-year-olds have lots of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I have a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old. Happens at the helm, sometimes a little bit of different sides of themselves. So then they got to explore, who is this original photo of me? And what is the Mr. Hyde that AI created of me? And then again, who creates, who's part of the creation, who's part of the image, what part is human, what part is being processed, and what is processing, thinking, possibly that's happening with the computer, right? What information do they have besides the information that I gave them? So lots of discussions about then what shapes their identity, right? So what shapes the identity that AI would give to somebody to create an image? What shapes my identity? What kind of information and societal changes happens to me that would shape what I become or what I could become? And, you know, a little bit of that discussion. So lots of discussions about art and empathy and discussions about creation and curiosity for the children. And what we would normally say would be interdisciplinary, but for us, the technology is in the room with us, interacting, like Juliana said. It's not something, a part of the project, it's part of the project. And then we also have a Brazilian at Open University in London, Alexandra Okada. She has a project also about responsible investigations, responsible research. And one of the works that we're doing right now in this trimester will also be working with what is an impact. So one of the things that we talk about for curiosity and for learning is significance. What is significance to the learner? Not what's significance to the teacher. The teacher comes up with things sometimes say, why do I want to know that? They have other interests. So one of the things is to find something interesting to the students that is an impact in their society and their community, for them to research, for them to investigate and create a change, an impact change based on the development goals. And they go through this process of routine. First, what do they care about? Then what do they know? And then what do they do as an action? So from caring to knowing to doing. And they need to use this framework, they need to talk with people outside of the school, which is very important. So they need to research and get opinions and information about other people, what other points of view are about this problem that they see, about what they're caring about. Who are other people in the community, researchers, biologists, people in the government, people in different communities. And one of the ways for them to start to generate possible partners is actually talking with ChatGPT. Who else is concerned with this problem? Is this a real problem? Does this problem exist in other places? What is the level of impact this problem is in the world? So they can use ChatGPT or any other AI possibility as a sounding ground to get to higher thinking quicker. Because from not knowing who your connections are to knowing who I'm going to contact, I need to find out who are these players. So in school, sometimes inside the school, we lose contact with who are the players outside the school. So one of the impacts for this reflection is, who are the people that need to be worried about this? And we really want to make real world changes, not fake world, right? So we're living the present, and the present actually exists. It's not something that you do in school. You learn for actually learning. So that's the trouble. This is a project that's going to be this trimester, so we'll give more news about this later and how much AI could help them. And I'm sure that they will probably use Leonardo AI and other things to create images about their possible actions, right? What can be imagined? What questions, what prompts can I do? You know, we've talked to them about the big career change, about who asks good questions for AI. What are the questions and the prompts that I need to ask? That's good for any learning, right? In anywhere. What are the key words that make a difference? So that's kind of where we are now with the school. And we're always changing and evolving. All of you who are in Brazil and not in Brazil, you're welcome to come. We have open seminars once a semester where we talk about practices, and the children are there, and they're not only learners but teachers nowadays. So it's very nice to see. So I'm hoping that AI and more technology will just allow us to go faster in the things we're interested in and make bigger impacts. So that's what we're trying to do at FourC, and with the students, the teachers, and the parents, and the community. So thank you for your time.